Mexico City, choking, horrible air. We have a problem with ozone depletion. You probably heard about that, with CFCs going up in the atmosphere. We had contamination in the Hudson River so bad in the 60s that there were a bunch of men ready to break the law, ready to put dynamite on a raft. These are Vietnam veterans and blue-collar workers ready to put dynamite in a raft and put it up this outfall pipe because the fish were dying in the Hudson River. This is in the 60s. You had the Cuyahoga River catching fire near Cleveland. Anybody remember that, when the Cuyahoga River caught fire? I don't know about you, but I think it's bad when rivers catch fire. It's a bad sign. We have overfishing. The Grants Banks, Georges Banks fisheries collapsed. Cod and haddock and flounder, they couldn't fish anymore. We have challenges with our salmon fisheries right now. Lake Erie, all but dead. This is before the Clean Water Act or what have you. But I stand before you filled with hope. All that bad news I just rattled off, and I won't go on it anymore because I see the glass is much more than half full. And I stand before you on this wonderful fake grass, I'll tell you more about later. I stand before you filled with hope. How can that possibly be? This is an insane LA actor. How can he be? He's acting. How can he be filled with hope? I'm filled with hope about all these things. How can we do it? We can do it because we've already done it. We've gone halfway up the mountain. LA air, it was so smoggy in 1970 when I started doing this stuff. We have 4 times the amount of cars in LA for 1970. Now that's not good news, it's just news. It is. A lot of people move there. 4 times the cars, we have half the smog. We can do this. We had a very serious problem with ozone depletion over Antarctica. By '87, the Montreal Protocol was put into place. We banned CFCs from sprays. In the 70s, we got more aggressive, banning chlorofluorocarbons from circuit board cleaning processes and what have you, and really said, the scientists said, man, it's going to be 30 or 40 years we might be able to turn it around. 20 years later, it's not the same size, it's not bigger, it's smaller, that hole in the ozone layer. Lake Erie, let's have a hand for that. Lake Erie, that was nearly dead, has come back to life, a lot of life returning to that river. The Cuyahoga River does not catch fire. And let me tell you again in detail what happened in the Hudson River. These people came back from Vietnam from serving their country. Blue-collar workers, they were ready to break the law, put dynamite in a raft in this Penn Central pipe that was coming out. Many other polluters, but Penn Central was one of the worst. They're ready to do that. One guy raised his hand in the back, a guy by the name of Bob Boyle, from a radical organization called Field and Stream. Bob Boyle from Field and Stream says, guys, we're talking about breaking the law, what about enforcing the law? They went, what are you talking about? This is the 60s, you know, there's no Clean Water Act then. Clean Water Act or Clean Air Act, by the way, signed by a radical by the name of Richard Nixon, just for your information. And they were talking about breaking the law. He said, we can enforce the law. We can enforce the law. There's an 1885 Safe Harbors and Rivers Act, and if we sue them and win, we get to keep half the bounty. And we can afford a lawyer and then sue the next guy and the next guy and all these other people. And they did, and the Hudson River Keeper was born, and John Cronin ran the Hudson River Keeper, and Pete Seeger was involved, and my friend Bobby Kennedy Jr. was involved, and now it's one of the most productive fisheries in the Northeast, the Hudson River. But we have challenges. We have some stuff that's not going to be as easy to fix. With the coral reefs dying, there's no scientist yet that knows how to fix that. They have some theories and what have you, but to bring coral reefs back to life once they're dead, nobody's quite sure how that's going to work. Global climate change, if there is a feedback loop, as many scientists believe there is, and you start to release more methane, more CO2 from the permafrost, from the tundra, if this global warming continues to go, and you have more problems with that, how's that going to work out? Many people have very dire predictions about that, and they have PhD after the name. If you feel there's some controversy about global warming, and you're certainly entitled to that opinion. There are people with PhD after the name, Dr. Lindzen and a few others, that aren't as concerned. There are thousands and thousands of people who are quite knowledgeable about matters who feel that there is a problem, and just check it out online. That's all I say to anybody out there, and stick with reputable websites like National Geographic's, NASA, NOAA, Princeton University, somebody with PhD after the name. I'll roll the dice on that. If you want to find out more about global climate change or any of this stuff I'm talking about, go to a college campus, and I'll roll the dice on any of that, because the odds are you're going to get somebody who's going to verify what I'm talking about these concerns. But even if you don't think global climate change is real, what about if we could lessen our dependence on Mideast oil? Clean up the air in Houston, Bakersfield, and LA. And put money in our pocket? Is there anybody that's not on board for that? We're all on board for that, because we can do it. If we pick the low-hanging fruit first, we do the stuff that's cheapest and easiest. And I don't need to look online at National Geographic or Princeton University or anybody with PhD to tell me that this stuff works. I've done it in my own life. Everything that I did for the environment was good for my bottom line. All of it. We can do it. Also, some things that Rochelle, bless her heart, fought me on. The recycled plastic fence. I love to fight with her, I guess. But I fought with her on that one. I said, honey, I just don't want to take down trees. I had this falling down fence. You know, the previous owners had put it up in the 70s. I bought the home in '88. So by the early 90s, it was falling down so bad, I said, I'm not going to be going to Home Depot buying 2x4s.